So what are 5 web design considerations you need to take that have a positive or inversely negative impact on your search engine optimization results and rankings in the search results? That is what we're going to talk about in today's episode. So when it comes to designing a website, and whether you're doing this yourself or you're hiring somebody to do it, there are considerations to take in for user experience, which actually does tie into your SEO. But there's also elements to take into consideration explicitly for SEO. And that's what I want to talk about today, is those elements that are very particular to getting better rankings on Google and Bing and the other ones, but Google still owns, I forget the percentage, 90%. So what are the 5 things that I would recommend you look at and talk to with your web design company developer? Number 1, make sure that your content is relevant based on long tail keywords. I know that's not necessarily a design element, but in order for you to rank, the biggest thing Google wants to know is that your content is relevant. So when people are searching on Google, they want to find answers to their question, and Google's responsibility is to show the most appropriate sites that will answer those questions. And so you want to make sure that your site is built around a proper keyword architecture. And sometimes this gets overlooked, especially if you're not even aware that you should be doing it. Whoever designs your website should be doing it as part of the package that when they're building your website. But it's something to keep in mind and definitely ask a question about. Number 2 is alt tag. All images need alt tag. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, when you go to a website, every image on a website, Google doesn't actually see. They see the code. So when it comes to images, you actually need to put text in the alt text. And in WordPress, what we mean by that is when you go into your library, and this hasn't been optimized yet, long story, I'm a marketer and my own marketing always gets put to the bottom of the list. Where it says alternative text, that's where you want to put a descriptor of what you're talking about, because that's what Google's going to see. So if your site is really heavy on text and video, 1, it's going to slow your site speed down, which I'm going to talk about next. And 2, Google actually doesn't know what that content is. It doesn't read it. Not yet anyways. Kind of surprised they don't, but they don't. They're looking at literally the code of your site. So make sure you have the alt text all done for all important images on your site. Number 3 is your site speed. So we use GTmetrix for site speed analysis. They've been around for eons, very reputable, very consistent, and that ultimately we all get the idea, which is you want to get an A. The faster your site loads, the better Google will rank you. It's almost a direct relationship. In May of 2021, or no, sorry, they moved it to June of 2021. They are coming out with a whole whack of new standards for website site speed and optimization. I'm not going into that right now. Honestly, I still have to get my head wrapped around it, but they are coming out with it. So just be careful about that and make sure you're in conversation with your web design, your developers and your hosting company or whoever's handling your website to make sure that you stay up to those standards and the speeds of what Google is coming out for. Also, this is a site, I'll be honest, this is not our site, but we do the marketing for this client, and her site loads very, very fast, right? So, of course, as the marketing agency, I'm very happy with that. You want to make sure you're mobile optimized. So, 80%, sometimes even more, of your website traffic is going to come from mobile. And if you're not optimized for mobile, you'll lose them. And Google knows this. So if the site isn't relevant, when someone goes from Google to your website and it's not relevant, then they click back. Something we could look at is called a bounce rate. If that's really high, they'll start to push you down in the search engine results, and you don't want that. We call them the SERPs, by the way, search engine ranking performance. Anyways, you don't want that. You want your site to, you want a good user experience, and then that also tells Google that your site is relevant. So you want to make sure that your site actually looks good on mobile. Really, really important. They came out, well, they started talking about it, I think it was 2018, but they really pushed it. I can't remember if it was 2019, spring of 2019 or spring of 2020, which is mobile first search engine ranking results. Meaning, how you rank on desktop is now 100% different than how you rank on mobile. In our reports, we actually split them out. We have a Google ranking report, we have a Google local report, and then we have a Google mobile report. They're all different now. Just because you rank on Google desktop, you can still tank on mobile. You have to be mobile optimized. It's a completely different algorithm now. You can't not be optimized in 2021. Lastly, and this ties into everything, which is user experience and site speed and everything like that, is you want to make sure that you're minimizing your JavaScript. So JavaScript is bits of code, usually a lot of it. I'm not a coder, so I usually leave it to my developer. But a lot of the times it's from excess user plugins. Instagram feeds are horrible for site speed. It's just horrible. I know it looks pretty to have your Instagram feed populate on your website, but I've yet to find a plugin for WordPress that does an Instagram feed without killing your site speeds. And that has to do with JavaScript. And when you pull up a report in GTmetrix, they'll actually tell you if you have JavaScript errors. And you can get a developer to analyze these reports and actually tell you what the problems are and then go in and fix them. So you want to keep your site as clean technically as possible. You want to keep it as clean aesthetically as possible. You want to make sure you have all your on-page optimization done. And then, of course, user experience for desktop and especially mobile. Those are really, really key things that you need to be focusing on in today's market when it comes to the competitiveness of fitness studios and fitness options post-pandemic. So let me know if you have any comments, questions, or concerns about that. Leave it in the comments. You can email me. You can find my email through my website. It's just info@zan.digital. And I'd love to have a conversation if I'm always open to having conversations about this if you're confused or anything like that. Have yourself a wonderful day, and we'll see you next week.